It's that time of year again. All Hallows Eve approaches and Morrslieb waxes full in the night sky. Geheimnisnacht comes to Warhammer as the veil between worlds is lifted and the Neverborn walk amongst us. Welcome back to Vermintide 2. I am your host, Indy Pride from milkandcookiesTW, and today we'll be plunging into Bubblebutt Halle Berry's home turf with Marcus Kruber and Victor Saltzpyre in a legend duo for the ages. Haven't been playing a ton of Vermintide 2 recently over the last couple months. Just needed a break from it, which is natural. I think a decent number of us felt like Winds of Magic was a little bit disappointing, but when I do play, I usually play Cataclysm. I like to be challenged, and Cata has a lot to offer in that way, but in duos, I honestly like Legend more. It's still challenging. You can definitely get wiped pretty easily, but it's just not as try-hard. You don't have to sweat at the keyboard for 30 minutes straight. Just a bit more chill, a bit more relaxed, and you have a bit more space to style on enemies and actually enjoy the combat. That makes this series so damn good. The issue with Cata is there's just not much room to breathe at all. It's always kiting hordes with like dozens of armored enemies and 4 specials chasing you around the map. Big amorphous blobs of goat flesh breathing down your neck, kind of like this right here. And you just don't have that much time to actually, enjoy the game itself. Not to mention in duos, you're just asking for carpal tunnel. So, Legend it is for this run on Halescourge. Gonna be dealing with the Beastie Boys for the first third or so of the mission, the Skaven for the second part, and Chaos for the last part as we approach Bumper Dink Humper Scooch. I am playing as Mercenary Kruber. My boy Duke Eligos is playing as Witch Hunter Captain, and the synergy there should be readily apparent. We both have AoE ultimates that knock back specials and hordes, and we can create a lot of space with those if things start going south. And in duo runs, things can get spicy quite quickly because you don't have that extra safety blanket of 2 more heroes. So Mercenary is all about increased DPS and control. Personally feel like it's one of the strongest careers in the game. Increased crit chance, increased cleave, increased attack speed, all just built into the career. Kinda hard to go wrong with that combo in a game that's all about melee combat. It's very nice to be able to kill everything in front of you that much quicker. Now, this was my only second game ever with the Tuskgor Spear. We did a trial run on Dark Omens right before this that just kind of got me used to the weapon. But since it was added in Winds of Magic, it has been what I consider a very meta weapon. I mean, the Spear is just super, super good. Obscene horde control with the push attack, very safe, has a lot of stamina and range, and solid headshot potential too. Now, what you saw right there, a couple seconds ago, killing a Minotaur by ledging him. There are a couple maps in this game where you can do that. It's one of the easiest ways to deal with bosses if you can get in the right position. All we did there, wait for the Minotaur to come around the corner, have Witch Hunter pop his ult, and send that Beastie Boy right over the edge to his doom. So that was pretty fun. Now, I am running Von Minecraft Whirligig of Death, 10% armor and Skaven power on that thing, and Barrage, which gives you consecutive attacks to boost your power up to, I think, 25% extra. And on the Spear, running Power vs. Chaos and Crit Chance with Opportunist, which increases push strength by 50% when used against an attacking enemy. And that's important because the more stagger you have equates to more damage. That's how stagger works now. When you stagger something, you deal more damage to them, and it just means more safety for you and your partner, which is nice. Plus, it allows you to interrupt Storm Vermin overheads when you push them while they're attacking, which is really nice, and in some cases can actually be completely life-saving and run-saving for you and your homie. I highly recommend running Opportunist if you have a horde clear or control type weapon, one that gives you the power to interrupt Chaos Warriors or Storm Vermin, that kind of thing. It's just something that's always going to be useful. If they're in the middle of a horde and they're trying to overhead you through a bunch of chaff, and you can just push and push and push, and all that stuff is going to get staggered backwards and interrupt their attacks, you're going to be a lot more safe, and your ability to survive sticky situations is going to be drastically improved, which is a very good thing. So, for my necklace, health and block cost reduction, 20% extra health, always going to be very useful. And I have Bark Skin, which means that when you take damage, it reduces incoming sources from that damage in subsequent attacks from enemies by up to 40% for 2 seconds. So essentially, if I get stabbed by a gore and then a bunch of other gores shank me at the same time, then all that stuff will be reduced by 40%, and that can save your ass in a lot of situations. Charm is 10% power versus Chaos and Infantry. With Decanter, increases my potion duration by 50%. If you have Strength or, I guess, Purple Potion, the Purple Drank is probably going to be really good here. Because if we get in a bad spot, essentially we can just alternate ults with Witch Hunter and myself. I think he's running Potion Share, so we can always have our ultimate up in a situation where we can push back the enemies. If a special Packmaster or an Assassin jumps on Soul Spire in the middle of a horde, all I have to do is press F. I don't have to worry about being super accurate with my shots or anything in that manner. That bomb was not very good. I should not have thrown that. I got a little bit scared seeing that horde coming in. I wanted to clear it, but with the banner up, the bomb wasn't going to do a whole lot, so probably not worth it. And we're actually about to make a really big mistake here, which we'll talk about as soon as it happens. But I have 10 health on melee kill. Limb Splitter, increase cleave power by 50%. Really amazing when you're rocking Mercenary Kruber and the Spear, because that horde control is so good. Mainstay, 40% more damage to staggered enemies. Enhanced training, and that's the attack speed with Pay Strikes. Black Market Supplies for more ammo, and Walk It Off, 40% damage reduction for 10 seconds for allies. So what we did right there was absolutely the wrong call. And this is something you should always try to avoid, whether you're playing solo or duo, or even in a four-man team. We wanted to get away out of the street from the hordes, and unfortunately we ran into one. But this is kind of a death trap. There is something to be said for putting your back to a wall, but any situation where you're getting inundated by hordes of enemies, essentially you want to put yourself in a spot where you can put your ass to the wall and scoot alongside it. If you put yourself in a choke point like that one, what just happened is what is very likely to happen. A Packmaster or an Assassin will kind of just clip his way through the entire horde and pull you to your doom. So I don't know how the Packmaster didn't die there, because I did right-click it like 4 or 5 times with the Spear, and I think I crit on it a couple times too. They do have a lot of health, but yeah, we went to the wrong spot. Avoid places where the enemy can come at you single file in a horde from both sides. Because if you're in that kind of spot, then yeah, a Packmaster, Gutter Runner, you won't be able to see it, you won't be able to shoot it, there's going to be too much mass in front of you, and then it will just walk through the horde like they don't exist. They can clip through it, pull you into the horde, and then whether it's Legend or Kata, you're going to die in a couple hits, and that'll be that. Very nice dodge from Soul Spire. Get out of the way of that Gutter Runner, and he's got a banner. Nice shot. They did change the armor on the head of the Wargore, which, by the way, they still really need to change that model. It still looks like a gore. It still barely even looks special. Needs some kind of special markings, dude. It's just, right now, it's still just a black amorphous blob. It needs to be, it has to have some kind of headdress. Maybe like white markings. Wouldn't even mind if it's albino. Something to make it stand out and look special. Wargore does not look special once it loses the banner. It's just a black hole. It's Enigma from Dota 2. But Duke was only able to headshot him because they changed super armor on his head. It used to be, I think, super armor everywhere on the body, including the head. Now it seems like crossbows and some ranged weapons can penetrate and kill it with a headshot. Which I like. Beastmen were definitely overtuned for a while there. They have been nerfed. And finally I'm about to get picked up. But, oh, he almost got the bad suck from the Nurgle Leech Lord there. Would have been a very sad way to end this game. I'm back up, and I have no plans on going down again. Just bad positioning from us the last time was the reason for it. This time, we don't have much of a choice. We wouldn't want to fight here either. We did learn our lesson, but we don't have an opportunity to go anywhere else. We are going to get shoved backwards, and actually, looking back on it, smart way to deal with that while the banner was down was maybe just push all those enemies into the river. That might have been the play, instead of coming back here. Regardless, we're taking on a horde in a choke point again. This time, a banner behind it. And this is scary. This is a place where you can definitely lose. If it was Skaven or if it was Chaos, wouldn't really be a problem at all. We have all the control in the world. But at the moment, it's a very high mass horde with not a lot of space to maneuver and a banner all the way behind, constantly replenishing them and making them incredibly tough to kill. So we're going to try to time our ults to push through to it, but again, a bit of a communication fail. We both ulted at the same time, If you stagger those, I'm probably already at the banner. Barkskin is saving my ass. I would already be dead if I did not have Barkskin equipped, and I will be able to fight myself through barely and destroy that banner, and once it's dead, killing the Beastman Horde should not be much of an issue. So go on the offensive now. And this is where the spear is just so goddamn good. Look at it. Push dab, stab, headshot, headshot, push dab. The control on it. The control on the push dab especially is amazing. And I think it actually has AP on the push dab too. I know it has armor piercing on some of the light attacks. If you headshot with it, things are going to die real quick. So we survive a very sticky situation and get the hell out of Dodge and continue on our merry way. So I love Geheimnisnacht for the atmosphere. I think any of the night maps in this game look gorgeous, and they certainly did in Vermintide 1. And I feel like that's one area where Vermintide 1 still kind of outperforms its peer, its sequel. I feel like Vermintide 1's pacing and atmosphere was just better. You'd have a sharp difficulty spike, then a bit of time to recuperate, add in some world building, and amazing dialogue. That's one of my favorite parts of Vermintide 1. When each of the characters is talking to each other, you really got that sense of camaraderie and friendship, and a very interesting and personal look at how each of these characters deal with the world quite literally tumbling down around them. That doesn't really happen in Vermintide 2 missions at all. The few times it does, conversation gets immediately pooped on by a special call-out or Slayer Barden screaming, "Grimnir!" for the 500,000th time. No one wants to hear special call-outs or ultimate voice lines when there's an actual important lore conversation that's happening, that's unique. We can hear the ult call-outs whenever we want. We can't hear the dialogue, so the fact that it gets interrupted gets very frustrating. I feel like Vermintide 2 upped the ante in a lot of ways. More enemies, less downtime, and Cataclysm in 2 is way harder, way more difficult, which is cool, but it definitely lost some of its charm, some of that personal flair. And I will say, I do not get a nostalgic feeling when I'm in the Keep, or when I play 2 in general, but I definitely get hit by it in waves when I load up Vermintide 1 and get into the Red Moon Inn and hear that music. It just triggers something in my brain. It's like, oh, feels like Christmas all over again. Now, that might change over the next 5-10 years or whatever, but at least for now, there is a nostalgic feeling Vermintide 1 gives me that I don't think Vermintide 2 quite has, because it doesn't have that same kind of charm. But there are, without question, a lot of things Fat Shark improved upon for Vermintide 2. I just wish they didn't work so slow. Like, 8 or 9 months for a disappointing update in Winds of Magic made me a sad panda. I've heard they were almost done with Loner's Emporium. The cosmetic rework in general, the getting new hats, new ways to unlock them, new skins, new costumes, all that. And then they just stopped work on it and put everyone on Winds of Magic. That's absolutely insane to me. It just reeks of bad project management, if that's actually true. To put months of resources into something you're going to finish anyway. We know they're going to finish Loner's Emporium at some point. And just take them away right when they're about to cross the finish line, stop work on it entirely, and begin work on something else that, with your entire team. Like, that, of course, no wonder we went 8 months without any significant patches or content during that span. It's so bizarre. Like, just finish what you're almost done with, and then move on to something new. Very strange. Very, very strange. Now, we've had a couple of close calls in the run so far. That Skaven ambush at the ruins on the cliffside as things were tumbling into the gigantic yawning chasm that's opening up beneath our feet. It got scary because there's a Packmaster and Assassin in the middle of a horde. And that's where your ult comes in. That's where being able to knock back everything in an area of effect is incredibly good, run saving, and it's saved our asses quite a few times this game already. Because it's kind of a counter to everything. How you lose in Vermintide is you either get armor to surround you and kind of mix in with a bunch of chaff, so you just get hit a bunch of times, so they're all on top of you, or a special jumps on you, disables you when likely there's a horde around you. When you can just press F and everything gets knocked down or knocked backwards, it's a get out of jail free card, for sure. And I think Witch Hunter is running the cooldown reduction on his ult too. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't even remember what the talents are. There have been so many talent reworks over the last couple months that I couldn't even tell you. Even though I played a bunch of Witch Hunter Captain, I couldn't even tell you exactly what his ultimate does at the moment. But his shout is super good. It seems like he's running cooldown reduction because he has it up all the time. And that's a huge deal. It's saving us. He's also running Billhook, which is yet another really good crowd control weapon. And the really cool thing about that weapon, you've seen me use it a couple times. If, say, a Packmaster is coming at you, you can just grab it out of its animation. If a Bestigor is charging you, you can just grab it out of its animation and stop the charge completely. And just completely control that unit. So if a Packmaster is about to grab your teammate, you can just spam that special attack over and over and over, keep tripping it, keep trolling it, and just wait until someone else with better DPS comes over and finishes it off. If a Bestigor is charging, I don't really care. Dodge out of the way, hit the special attack animation, hook it, and you're basically your own mini Packmaster. You can just stop its momentum dead in its tracks, prevent it from stunning your ally, and protect your homies that way. So the Billhook, I think, is one of the most unique weapons in Vermintide, too. I think it's a very good addition to the game. Really enjoy using it. And this spear is insane. I'm not kidding you. I think the Executioner Sword might be his best overall DPS weapon, but the spear isn't far behind, and it has, at least I feel like it has far better control. And it has the stamina to just push dab over and over and over and over,
Take it.
which is the safest way to play Vermintide. If you can push dab a lot, then you're not going to get hit as much. Simple as that, because you have something that's controlling the horde before you even attack. And then that sweep, that horizontal sweep afterwards. Mwah. Mwah. Juicy. So good.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore that green Warpstone nuke effect when you blow up a Warp Fire Thrower. Looks so good. So, this is pretty much how you want to take on most hordes. You want to get your back to a wall, have a lot of space to dodge dance if you need to, and just corner up. But the difference between that and the mistakes we made earlier is, of course, we have a lot of room to maneuver right now. We could dodge behind that cart, we could get into the corner, we can scoot along the wall, dodging sideways as you go. Can't do that so much when you're stuck in a little tunnel underground. And I think those are usually like, it makes sense, like the human mind kind of wants you to get into a cubby hole where they can only come at you from one direction. It does make sense to do that, but in Vermintide, it's just not the right play. And both times we got in a situation like that, we got pretty close to wiping completely. So if that's not enough evidence to tell you, maybe I shouldn't do that next time I run into a situation similar to that one, it should be. It should tell you, okay, it's not the right call. Here, it's fine. We don't have a horde to deal with. There are specials coming. If there are specials coming, you do want to mitigate their angle, their avenue of attack somewhat. And we have our ults up too, which is kind of important. Just knock that Packmaster back. I mean, it was 20 feet away, press F, went flying, went over, stabbed him a couple times. And Clan Boulder will be missing one of their homies after that one. Well, no, they won't. They're Skaven. Skaven don't care. They have like a lifespan of 7 years anyway. I think Queek, Headtaker, in the novel, it's a novel called Headtaker by Guy Haley, I believe. Or David Geimer? I think it's Guy Haley. Maybe David Geimer was the one who wrote some of the Carrick Epic stuff. Correct me in the comment section, I'm not actually sure. But Queek Headtaker, I think, is like 12 or 13 years old, and he's starting to go gray at the end of one of the novels. And by the end times, he's actually considered old. And he's only been on Earth for like slightly more than a decade. So, Skaven do not have a long lifespan, which makes sense because their metabolism is super crazy. It's why they're so fast. It's why their reaction speeds are bordering on superhuman in some instances. Queek is essentially a superhero. His metabolism is just going off like crazy. So they die pretty early on to old age, but most of them don't even get there because it's Skaven, you know, it's Skaven society. They backstab you and send you into the meat grinder, and you get eaten by storm fiends and get smashed apart by doom wheels, and Skaven don't really care if they assassinate you or murder you and your family. It's kind of a common thing in the Under Empire. We're getting very near the end of this mission. Probably hung around a bit too much at this ammo box. We got a second horde that we probably didn't need to deal with. But we're going to stay up here. If you hear that horde sound at this point, just stay in the ammo box and the health. Don't drop yet. That can get you killed in Vermintide. It's gotten me killed many times over the years. You drop when you really shouldn't be dropping. It forces your team to drop, or they don't even notice that you dropped. you get split up and then you get murdered. But if you know that a horde's coming, just stay by the health kit, stay by the ammo box, use up all that stuff. And now we're going into the boss with pretty much full health and full ammo. And I'm really liking that black market supplies talent on Kruber, at least with the repeater handgun. The extra 30% ammo has been invaluable this game.
Oh yeah, because I killed them.
And this is the first time I can remember. I don't know if I've ever done Halescourge in duo runs on Legend or Kata.
They're like shiny and shit.
I'm gonna get hit by his plague, his pestilential bubble breath quite a bit this game.
Weird.
And he does not take a lot of damage to range fire either. So pretty early on, we're gonna realize that shooting him is not the right call. Maybe if we had a bounty hunter or something, it might be good. And my homie, oh, he almost got murdered by the rot flies. Got tied up by one of those. That got scary. But shot him, saved him. And we're going to realize the best way to DPS him down in this part of the boss fight is wait until he teleports up the top, the platforms above, then go directly beneath him and stab him in the butthole like 17 times in a row. And with the higher crit chance that we've got with the Witch Hunter ult and my ult as well. Not my ult. Just my higher crit chance. I think Kruber Mercenary essentially has like 10% extra base by itself. I know he has the 5% extra from his passive, but I've got 5% crit chance on my spear as well. And you can just kind of stab him over and over and over and over and over in the ass. And that's going to be the best way to DPS him down. But first we got to worry about all these berserkers and all this chaff that's coming our way. So have Duke Eligos deal with the chaff for a little bit. I'll stab him a few times. And you can see that as this battle progresses, started out very slow, not dealing much damage, start getting more comfortable, realizing what we have to do to actually kill him quickly. I like that they buffed the bosses, though. I remember there was a time where Halescourge could get melted away in about 5 seconds. Everyone, it was during the range meta time, early in Vermintide 1's life cycle, where melee really wasn't focused on much at all, and you can kind of just get through the entire game clearing waves with your ranged weapons. I did not think that was a very good time for Vermintide. I'm glad that ranged play was changed a bit so that it wasn't so easy. Because Vermintide's melee is what makes this game special. Like, range is important, and it's still very good. But you shouldn't be able to melt endgame bosses in 5 seconds with your ranged weapons. It just shouldn't be a thing. So they made this a lot more difficult, and I've gotten hit by the thing a lot. Fortunately, I have a very good way to kind of counteract those plague clones coming my way. Just press F. 25 temp HP every single time I do it. And for the second game with Spear ever, quite enjoying it and realizing why people have been trying to do solo runs with this on Kata and being successful as well. Incredible weapon. But on the home stretch, and things are getting tense. A lot of maulers, a lot of chaos warriors coming in waves. Still stabbing him in the butthole. Nasty Nurgle butthole. And he's about to die. We're going to try to commit. We're going to try to push for a commitment here and finish him off for good. He's got a little bit of health left. Close the gap there. Pop the speed, or give it to Witch Hunter so he can close him and start just stabbing with a bill hook over and over and over. Melee does seem more effective against him than range. I think what they did was they just gave him a lot of range resist. Pretty sure that's how they kind of made him a lot tankier. I do remember actually when the game first came out, the boss fight itself was really hard. It was just when people started getting their power up and realizing how strong ranged weapons were that he started melting. But like in terms of his DPS, he used to do way more damage. Those clones, if they hit you, would do like half HP on Legend before. Not anymore. I think it's just a more fair and fun boss fight at this point. It's still challenging, but it's not like, oh, I got hit by a clone once. Now, watch as my health just completely evaporates. Get out of my way, stupid zombies. Get in there. We're going to commit. Oh, he's almost dead. And once he's dead, that's pretty much the end of the game. Dual run on Legend. I really love. I absolutely adore playing duo and solo runs in this game. It makes it so much more intense and so much more personal, I guess is the best way to put it. When you've got a team of 4, like, you just have such a beautiful safety net that makes it hard to lose, especially when you're playing with really good players. When you're in duos, even if you have a good teammate, one, you get to kill more stuff, which is fun in and of itself. You're not competing with teammates as much because there's only one other teammate. But teamwork is more important, and it gets more intense. It's the same reason why in Hunt Showdown I sometimes like to play solo. Like, every mistake you make is amplified, which gets frustrating, but it's also more challenging and it's more fun. Without just insane hordes constantly slamming into you like happens on Kata. Which is why we played Legend.
That sounds spicy.
So the game went very well. Managed to clear Halescourge with my boy Duke Eligos. Really fun game. And let me take a moment here to implore Fat Shark for the umpteenth time. I've done this on Reddit literally like 15 times. You guys might have seen my messages on it before. But make Geheimnisnacht lighting a permanent fixture of the game. Roll it into quick play. Roll it into the normal game itself. You've already created the assets. You've already put the effort in. It's the same thing with Obese Megalodon. Like, why go through all the effort to make a new asset and then not actually make it a part of the base game? Add it in. We all want it. Thank you.